Hi, everyone. Thank you, Deepthi and Parvati. Hello, everyone. I'll be your host for the rest of the evening. I hope you all are enjoying this session. So, moving on to the next session, our session is on Love Yourself and Explore the Unexplored. In this session, Arunima, our guest, will be speaking on what was her journey when she was traversing to the multiple roles and her learnings throughout these experiences. Arunima, Vice President, Strategy, Digital and Innovation Group, leads digital transformation of small businesses at Wells Fargo. She has around 22 plus years of experience in financial services and has played various roles, including product management and strategy, product development and implementation, product management, and client support. She is a passionate diversity, equity, and inclusion advocate and has spearheaded several DEI initiatives. She is one of the key pillars behind We, a non-profitable organization which works on the lives of women in technology. So now, without ado, I'll hand it over to Arunima. Stage is all yours, Arunima. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya, for the kind words of introduction. And thank you all for taking time on a Sunday evening to listen to us. Thanks, Swami Sir, Parvati, and Jaya, and the entire IABA team for organizing this session and giving me an opportunity to be with you once again. I do not have a PPT and I would love to interact more. Maybe the first 15-20 minutes, I shall talk about my story, including my background, my family, my career, and how I overcame my inhibitions and created a path for myself. Then we can get into question and answers, where I shall try my best to answer the questions you may have. I'm hoping this is okay for all of you. I'm not going to cover anything on business analysis or product ownership today. I think Monshida have done a wonderful job in covering what product discovery is all about and the design thinking aspects of it. So my session would be pretty generic about my journey, and then we will get into some question answers where I can share some of the learnings I have had in my journey. Okay, so about myself, I'm actually from Kerala, from a district called Kollam, earlier known as Koilur. I'm from a middle class family, a lower middle class, I must say. With my father having a small business and mother as a homemaker, both of them without much education, they were determined to offer us, me and my brother. I have an elder brother, me and my brother, the best they could afford for us, be it education or the small luxuries we could afford. Thus, I was put in a convent school, a girls' school in Kerala, syllabus in English medium, with friends from upper class families, kids of doctors, teachers, and advocates. So when I look back today, being part of that school with friends from upper class might have created a little bit of inferiority in my mind. We had struggles back then. There were times when my father was unable to pay my fees on time, but somehow he managed to pay before the last date without fines, which I think was so kind of him when I look back now. Nevertheless, I studied well and scored good marks, and I got into engineering. I opted electrical and electronics engineering as I got admission to a college which was nearby, and I really didn't want to stay away from parents, and I didn't want to stay in hostel. That was the only reason why I chose electrical and electronics engineering. I scored good marks in engineering too. And with my good scores, someone in my friendly circle commented once that I'll not get a campus selection. It really broke my heart then. Not that there were many campus selections during my time. It was hardly 4 or 5 people in a branch who was getting campus placed. But still, somehow that comment coming from a friend really did hurt me because I badly needed a job. So when I was in 6th semester, we got to know from our class representative that a company called Infosys is coming this week for campus placement. And we were all asked to submit our biodata. So literally, we all had to write our biodata for the first time on that week to submit to Infosys. And my brother was a little bit crazy about computers. And by then, he was helping my father's business. I was good at programming, and I kind of managed to learn C and C++. We had to learn as per the syllabus. We had to learn basic and Fortran, but I somehow managed to learn C and C++ because my brother managed to get a second-hand computer for us. My brother also used to buy one computer magazine. I think that was the only computer magazine that was available at that time, called PC Quest. That was my only extra reading material during these days about computers. We did not have internet in home or college during those days. Somehow after this news came that Infosys is coming for a campus placement, I found a very short article in PC Quest, which would have been less than 10 sentences. It was an article about software industry in India, and a small rectangle in which 5 lines were written about Infosys. That's it. That was the only information I had about Infosys when I attended this interview. One day of aptitude test and the second day of interview round. So I was beyond thrilled when a friend told me that my name was in the list. Now, Infosys came to Kerala for the first time, and they took 22 people from my college, and I was one of them. That is how my journey in IT field started. It started in 98. Okay. Also, after I completed my engineering, I joined Infosys in Bangalore. I started as a software engineer. I traveled a bit. I moved between domains, retail, telecom, and then banking. And then finally, I settled in Finacle. Finacle is a product of Infosys. It's still a product of Infosys, but under a different brand name called Infosys Edgeworth. It is a product for financial services, banks and financial services. And I was part of the development team. I in fact was part of the product implementation team of internet banking. But I was blown to product development because at that time, the product development team was re-architecting their internet banking solution from a C-based architecture to Java. So that is how from professional services, I was loaned to product development, and that is where my product development journey has started. So I started as a developer there again. I was 3 years into my career then when I moved into Finacle, and I kind of developed that product as a software engineer. I went to Jamaica, the National Bank of Jamaica at that point of time, as a lead for implementing the same product which I've developed. Okay, and in the years, I shuttled between product development and product implementation quite a bit. I traveled to different places, got exposed to multiple products from Finacle, and I became a project manager when I was like 5.5 years in Infosys. I was a hardcore techie, and I didn't love management job. I basically didn't want to manage people because after all, it is not an easy task at all. And during that time, the only way we could grow in an organization was to move into project management. We didn't have specialized roles like architecture, architect and engineering managers at that time. Everyone had to become a project manager after a certain number of years of experience. And I also became a project manager, but that made me think whether project management is something which I wanted to do long term. And somewhere I was looking at the functional folks in my team, their product managers and product analysts in my team. And I thought they had a very small team and they didn't have to manage people, but they managed the product. Like, they thought through what is the future of the product. They thought through what the use cases that we should have in internet banking and stuff like that. So that kind of made me a little interested in that area. So I went up to my manager and asked if I can move to the product team. He actually denied that. Okay. He denied and said that you will have to continue in product development for some more time. You will have to make releases as a development manager, and then probably we can consider for you to the product. That was his answer. But nearly a year later, when he had an opportunity within his team, when one of his functional managers moved into a different job with an IJP, he called me and offered this job for product manager. So I started as a product management head of CRM. I've not developed much in CRM. I was still then working on internet banking, and I started as my product management journey as a product manager for CRM. Now, this is an important point which I want all of you to think about. You have to share your aspirations with your manager openly. There is no way your manager can know where you want to be. Now, if I have hesitated, I did hesitate. I should be honest with all of you. I did hesitate to go to my manager and ask this blunt question. Okay, I didn't have any backing. The only reason why I'm asking is I have a flair for it, and I don't want to be a people manager. That's the only reason. Now, it took some courage, several nights of thinking to go to my manager and ask this. But because I asked, a year later, he offered me that job. So this is a crucial point where I still believe managers do not have a third eye to understand your aspirations. If you are not loving what you are doing, you have to tell your manager plainly, and also in a very positive note that you are looking for something which is better than what you're doing. And I'm sure most of the managers may not be able to offer you something right away because they simply do not have that opportunity. When they have that opportunity, most of the managers will look for you and give you that opportunity. So this is my first learning, which I wanted to share with all of you. Now, I'll not go deep into each of my areas, but I've fairly done a lot of things in my career. In this 22 years career, I've fairly done a lot of things. I was into product development, so I know the engineering aspect of it. I was into customer maintenance projects, so I do know how to support customers and deal with clients who are very difficult to manage. I have worked as product manager. I've worked as project manager. So pretty much everything, I should say, except for the testing bit of it and the sales bit of it. Okay. And I should say I've been fairly successful in my career since then. I've managed many critical projects. I became the go-to-go person for problematic assignments. It was hard. I had to work extra all the time. There were challenges, but I loved the challenges. And more importantly, every assignment taught me something new. Today, as I speak to you, I do not have any specific skills to my credit, but I'm confident where you put me in, I'll work hard, I will learn, and I'll make it successful, except for sales. That's an area that I'm still not too comfortable with. So what made me who I am today? I was very nervous during my initial days. Okay, I hesitated talking in meetings. I was not comfortable opening my mouth, even when I know I'm 200% right in my question. I always had a doubt whether people will ridicule me. So I always kept quiet. I would have been the quietest person in the room most of the time, but my curiosity to learn, experimenting things and creating success, that is what made me what I am today. I have my inhibitions. Even now, there is an inner voice which asks, will I be successful? Making me anxious and nervous with every single decision I make. But I find ways to ignore that and move forward. One of the things I do most often is, what worse can happen in a given situation? What good can happen and what worse can happen in a given situation? So once you define these two, and once you are aware of what is the worst outcome that may happen and the impact of it, it somehow gives you more courage to progress, is what has been my learning. And after all, we are only doing softwares. We don't kill people, so we don't have to worry too much about what we are deciding. I also found, reading a lot helped me increase the breadth in your trends, in the sense, in whatever area you are working on. Read a lot and understand what are the trends in that area, and increase your depth in some of the skills which help you grow. Take some certifications, invest in yourself, park a percentage of your salary on a yearly basis to upskill yourself and treat yourself. And that is very, very crucial. Now, why I didn't choose to cover this session over a PPT? I believe heart-to-heart talks matter. There is no picture perfect leader. All of us have imposter syndrome in some way or the other. And all of us are nervous and anxious about the decisions we make day to day. But preparations and hard work makes all the difference. Now, let me summarize with 3 points which I wanted all of you to take away today. First point, love yourself. I have read somewhere that motivation is like bathing and we need it every day. So motivation, so if you love yourself, motivation can come within each and every one of you. Look within yourself to get motivated. The more you look for external motivation, the more you look for people around you, your manager or managers that kind of recognizing you for what you are done, you are actually creating a dependency and reducing the chances of staying positive and motivated by yourself, because your managers and your super managers might be having 100 other problems which they are dealing with every day. So sometimes they misses to recognize you, and that should not be detrimental to your growth. Now, how do you love yourself? Several of you may be already loving what you are and what you are doing. But the ones who are not, think about one small achievement you had today. For example, taking out this 2 hours to attend this IABA conference, that itself is an achievement. That is a skill, that is something which you are investing on yourself. However small that achievement may be, feel the joy of achieving it and pat yourself and say that you did a good thing. Slowly, you will learn the art of recognizing yourself, and you will be self-driven and self-motivated with the need of an external focus. Once you convince yourself you are good, there is no looking back. Believe me, everyone struggles. The ones you may be seeing smiling all the time, they suffer more. I had this friend who presented well in leadership meetings, and he always used to strategize everything. But knowing him, I knew how tense he was for each meeting with the leadership. No one else knew this, but he prepares well, and that made a difference. He was very successful, but he was tensed equally. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Everyone will become anxious at some point of time or the other. We need to know how to overcome that. I learned from him that we must prepare and not be worried about the end result. We put in our hard work and hope that the results will be good. Given a situation, always think what can go good and what can be the worst outcome. Once you are kind of aware of the outcome, our worries will be less. Is what I have experienced in my life. And a good friend of mine who helped me believe in myself said, schools must teach to love ourselves than wanting to be accepted and loved and cared for by another person. So this was one of the biggest learnings I had. Now, the second point which I wanted to share with all of you about the exploring the unexplored part. Be ready to take opportunities that come your way, that presents you an opportunity to grow. Some of them you may not like it, but every opportunity that comes your way have something in it for you to learn, which might help you in your career at a later point of time. You may not have all the skills. Say if someone is giving you an opportunity, you may not have all the skills to perform that job rather. But you can always learn and seek support and still make it happen. On that note, my favorite quote is, if someone gives you an amazing opportunity and you do not know how to do it, say yes and then learn how to do it. This is by Sir Richard Branson. I love this quote, and that's what all matters. We accept challenges, learn how to overcome that, and create successes. Most often, when we have challenges, that is when we learn. If we are in our comfort zone, we hardly learn much. Challenges gives us more learnings and make us tougher to make up more responsibilities. Let me share another example with you. In 2008, when I had some health issues and I couldn't travel, I was in product management and they wanted me to travel. I reached out to a manager in product strategy, which was a different team, and I asked if I can be given a chance in product strategy. And I also had to work from Trivandrum, and this group was based in Bangalore. I almost expected a no, but still I gathered courage from somewhere and asked. The next day, the manager came back to me with an yes, and that changed the world for me. I was new to strategy. I was the only one in that team. It was a small team. I was the only one in that team without an MBA. I could not travel because of my health issues and meet clients. I wondered how I'm going to make an impact. But I still flourished with the help of managers and the team members. I wrote several thought papers. I attended and presented in virtual conferences then. I innovated and bought patents. So everything, I believe everything is possible if you want to make it happen. And only you can make it happen. That's the belief you must develop in yourself. And the third point, always create a support network. It can be friends, peers, or mentors whom you can reach out when in need, who you are sure will never judge you, who you are sure will be there to support and guide you when in doubt, who you are sure are 200% your well-wishers, who you are sure will be happy with your growth and success. And the need for mentors, circle of friends, and supportive colleagues are talked about much. And it is very crucial for us to stay sane in today's competitive world. So you must have a mentor always, but make a conscious choice who is your mentor, who is being very supportive of you, whom you can lean on when you have problems to solve. I think I'll wrap up now by just saying a few words. Let us all be lifelong students and also be lifelong teachers. We learn and at the same time share with others too, because sharing is always joy. With this, let me wrap up. Thanks for listening to me patiently, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah. Hi, Arunnima. So
Yeah.
that was a very inspiring journey of yours, and some of the things that you went through really resonates with my career journey as well. Of course, each of us are unique and our experiences will be unique, and what we learn from them could be different, but some of them I could really resonate because some of them really resonates with my journey. That was really nice. First thing I want to ask, I think I have a bunch of questions, and with Jaya and Dipti's permission, maybe I can start the questions. And yeah, so what does the W or the V, I don't know what it is, V stand for in your background?
Okay.
Can you share more about that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm part of this organization called We. We as in a collective group of technology professionals who are trying to transform the lives of women in some way or the other. The purpose of We is to create a community who can lift others, lift as we, what we call it as lift as we rise. So if I grow, I need to lift another person too. That is our motto. Okay?
Wow.
And this is basically to accelerate women to leadership in technology. We earlier this journey started way back in 2012 with an organization called EVIT, Empowering Women in IT. That was the organization name. They are based in Chennai. So we had a Kerala chapter. So we were operating under them for several years. What we do now, we have kind of rebranded ourselves as We is an independent entity in Kerala. What we do as part of We is we have designed a unique model called CCEP. C as in community capability building. What capability building targets is a set of programs, leadership programs, as well as technical programs, as well as interactions with leaders and platforms where people can learn from each other. So that is what is capability building. Second C is community outreach, where we want to reach out to other communities like schools and colleges and under-reserved children, and kind of empower them to take up better roles in education, and also target some to bring back people from homemakers to career makers, or people who have taken career breaks to back to work and things like that. The third one is equity, where we act as empathy partners, including other genders. We kind of celebrate success. We kind of spotlight women who have achieved something so that it can be motivating to other women and things like that. The fourth element, which is P, it is partnership, where we kind of partner with other organizations to work together. So it is
Okay.
all about creating inclusivity in the IT or in the technology world, I should say.
Wow, that's a really, I mean, kind of a noble cause, right? You're giving back something to the community, uh, and it's much beyond what you're doing. So what you're doing is already a lot, and then to spare time to do these kind of initiative is very extraordinary, I would say. So, one other question I have, and I keep having that for most of the women achievers, and I am there in lot of these forums where like you said, we call women achievers, because it's not just kind of stereotyping something or like that, but just to know like how did they get to that level where they are currently, and can we learn more out of it, right? So one question that always comes to mind is, do you need to have the end goal in mind, right? Or do you think that we should just plan for like the medium or the short term, and enjoy what you're doing at present, rather than thinking too much beyond and then trying to see or picture yourself uh, to do something, right?
Yeah, I got your question. Very interesting question, Parvati. I myself had this question. Okay, in my mind, I 3 years back I joined PhD. So a friend of mine asked me, why are you doing PhD? And the PhD which I'm doing is in a different area, in intellectual property rights, which is not related to the work I am doing. So when she asked me, I really didn't have an answer. I took a PhD because of a passion. My mother wanted me to learn more and more. So I thought, okay, let me do this. And I love to be a student. That's where I got into PhD, but I never thought about linking back into my career. Okay. Some people ask me whether I want to take have a doctor title so that I can shift to the academics. That was not my reason. So I got this question bothered me a lot. Okay, so I got with a friend who was a consultant, a counselor rather. And I asked this question to her: is there something wrong in me that I'm trying to chase something which I do not know the end result? And she said, you don't have to worry about it. If you allow the process of learning, that's it. You don't have to worry about the end results. Now, I have two ways of answering it. Okay, I I am a person who never had an end goal in mind. Okay, I always went through what came in front of me. At this point, if I get an opportunity, I think, will this opportunity be good or not? And at this point, whether that makes sense for me. That's how I made all my career moves so far. Okay, but having said that, I've also seen many other successful women who had that end goal in mind. They're crystal clear about their path, and they make steps only to reach that path. You know, I think it is a personality choice. I
Right.
enjoy what I'm doing. They enjoy what they are doing. So I think it has to blend
Absolutely.
with your personality.
Oh yes, oh yes, yeah. Thanks for that. And I would like to give some opportunity to Jaya and Dipti to ask some questions before I grab the uh, uh, mic again to ask more questions. Sorry for that.
Okay, so Arunima, I was quite amazed with your, thoughts and how you challenged yourself and accepted all the challenges which came your way. Uh, and I was able to connect with your story because some or the other way it resonates my experiences in life. So I had one question in mind while you were, changing your roles in your career. You also had, some responsibilities in your personal life as well, right? So how did you manage both? Because taking up new challenge or new role requires additional responsibility, and also we have to learn a lot to understand, like you said, that you have to pick the challenge and then you have to learn sometimes. Okay, so how you managed both?
Okay. Very interesting question, Jaya. Let me be very honest with all of you. Um, it's not easy. Really not easy. Okay. If we want work-life balance, or what we think about work-life balance as an 8-hour work then rest for the family. It's very, very hard. Okay. There might be people who are able to manage both extremely well, but I've not met anyone who have managed it so well. Okay. I've not met in my personal life. I have worked 12 to 14 hours almost every day, except for a small portion of my career. I've worked, and that small portion, when I had to limit my work, I had some personal challenges, and I decided I will only do this much. And for sure, that 3 years, I didn't grow at all. I didn't learn anything at all. I did what is required for my job, closed my laptop, and took care of myself. Okay. But all the other time, even now in Wells Fargo, I'm just I'm hoping someone from Wells Fargo will be there in this community as well. It is very challenging. We have 12 to 14 hours of work. At times, it's very, very difficult. Sometimes we have to kind of tell our managers, I cannot make this meeting because I have a personal reason. We have to be open enough to tell that. Okay, sometimes I have to tell my husband not to disturb me because I have something very important and I'll be sleeping late today. So don't come into the room, sleep elsewhere. I've done that. And what I've realized is it's not easy, especially for women, because we juggle with, we always have this super women picture in our mind. We want to be a super mom. We want to be a super wife. We also want to be super at work. It's not possible. It's really not possible. So what is required for us is understand how much you can stretch at that given point of time. How much you can stretch at that given point of time and dedicate and plan accordingly. Now, I would also give an advice to younger women who might be having small kids. Take time for your family. The world will not go anywhere. You still will have opportunities after 3 years or 5 years. You will still be there. You will still have an amazing career ahead of you. I met one person. Her name is Rujita. She is the head of alliances for a similar organization like we called Aspire for her. She said after her degree, she worked only for 2.5 years. After that, 28 years, she took a break for her family and kids. 28 years. And after that, she came into Aspire for her. And Ruchita is the head of alliances for Aspire for her. And she's creating history. So there is literally nothing you lose. So never have a doubt. When you have to prioritize your family, prioritize it. The sacrifices, you may think you're making a sacrifices. Don't think that is a sacrifice. It's our responsibility. And after some time, you can, when the kids grow, you can switch back your focus to your career.
Thank you, Arunnima. I had few questions related to it and you have answered it. Thank you so much. Now, Deepti, you can ask questions if you have.
It's actually something similar. It was more about prioritization itself. There are so many things that you want to do and everything seems like equal priority. Say, I'll tell you my current case. I want to do my CBAC certification. I joined a new company, so I want to learn the work there. And then the kids are there. So everything is equally important, right? And you choose something as a priority and you go ahead with it, but you're guilty about the other things. So I wanted to understand, how do you overcome that? Is there a way to get out of it?
First thing, we have to be guilt-free. Okay, we have to find our ways to be guilt-free. Okay, now I'll try. When Deepti, you were asking, I was thinking about myself. Okay, when I got married, I was in Infosys at that point of time, and we had a certificate. I took my PMB certification just before my marriage. Okay, I still remember my mom. My marriage was on November 16th, and I took the certification on November 1st. I told my mom, I somehow have to do this before my marriage, because after marriage, we do not know how we can do something. Okay, so I remember that I did it before marriage. And 2 years after marriage, there was a certification called Esteem. Esteem, which was internal certification, which is this FP estimation. Now, estimation was, and it was a scientific way of estimating things, and it was really tough. And we just moved into a new home at that point of time. I had some health issues, so I was not fine, and we didn't have, my parents were not staying with us. I didn't have a help at that point of time who could cook for us. Work was hectic. I didn't have time to read for FP examination. So and every weekend we were staying at Trivandrum, and every weekend we had to come to Kollam to see our parents. That was our, power-packed schedule during those days. So I was very worried that I'm not getting time to learn for this exam. But Infosys had made it mandatory that you have to pass 2 exams in a year. That is mandatory for your appraisal. So I somehow had to pass this exam too. So I kind of carried printout with me for 3-4 weeks. I couldn't find time to read the material, but one day I determined I have to take small step. Okay, so I looked at my entire day and I found that my husband goes to take bath and get ready only after I get ready. So I had a small window period when I have to wait for him to get ready. Okay, and I was always frustrated because I cook and then I get ready. He would be reading newspaper and he will go to take bath only after I get ready, and I have to wait for him. So I was a little frustrated during that time, but then I thought, okay, let me utilize this time, be it 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I still can cover a page. Okay, so slowly I got started. The first week went by like, 1.5 pages in a day, but then slowly it picked momentum. I would, why I told you this story, Deepthi, is that step is something which we need to take. It can be as small as possible. Even if it is 5 minutes, spare that time for CBAP. Okay. After 1 or 2 weeks, you will get it into your head that you will find time to do that. You will manage the rest of it. Now, some of the things, we have to ruthlessly prioritize as well. Ruthlessly. Okay. Sometimes I've told several times to my husband and his family when there are birthday parties or weddings, I said my work is important and I cannot make it. Times when, you can say no. And that is something which you have to say guilt-free. Don't think that, we cannot convince everyone. We cannot make everyone else happy around us. Just because you drop this and go attend a wedding party, they will be happy on that single day. But you will be worrying about that for 2 weeks at least, to the minimum. So make the choices. It's hard. It is really hard. Initially, it was not easy, but now I can do it without any guilt. So today, my husband, I've gone to his cousin's daughter is getting married, and it is like 600 kilometers from here. And I said, I'm not coming because this week is power pack for me and I'm not going to come. So I said, okay, fine, he went. As simple as that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, back to me. So, yeah, so Arunima, curious to understand, like, do you have a mentor? Did you have a mentor always? And how has that helped you if you had one? So,
Okay, I didn't have a mentor always. Okay, I really didn't have. I wanted to have one. Maybe I didn't realize that we needed to have one up until 3-4 years back. Okay, 3-4 years back, I realized people I heard a lot about mentoring, and I've heard about people having mentors and how they have benefited from them. So it was when I was in Finastra 3 years back, I realized that we should have a mentor. Now, I kind of scanned every single person who came in my mind, who was working either in Finastra or was working in Infosys, where I worked previously, who I can choose as my mentor. But I always felt that, I need to select one person whom I can gel well with. The person have to have my same kind of frequency. So I kind of scanned a lot of people during that time. I took almost 6 months to choose my mentor, and she is actually a senior vice president of Finastra from the US. So again, I was not sure when I go and ask her whether she will say yes. So I had it in my mind to ask for a couple of weeks, and then I just simply dropped her a mail and said, I'm so and so. I'm from Trivandrum. I'm doing this. And I was part of Women at Finestra. She was also leading Women at Finestra at that point of time. So we had very short interactions, not one-on-one interactions. And she immediately said yes. That came as a surprise, And that's what made me realize that if you want something, you have to ask. Nobody will come and offer it to you. You ask, and most probably the answer could be yes, most probably. And even if they say no, just be happy because you asked and they said no. So that's the attitude in which you should go. I would recommend all of you to select a mentor who personally resonates with you. And working with a mentor, see, if I know my mentor now is happy about what I do, if I have challenges, if I have confusions in decision making, I just have to send her a WhatsApp and she will reply back anytime, and that's the relationship which we have built with the mentor. And that kind of a support system is very much required for us in our, we will have confusions. There's no single person who do not have confusion about a decision, no single person. So it is always good to have someone who can guide you, whom you can tell, these are my thoughts, does it look nice? Even when I quit Finastra and moved to Wells Fargo, I told her, this is why I am moving to Wells Fargo, and what do you feel? And she said, yeah, if you feel so, go ahead.
Right.
I would say having a mentor helps a lot.
Right. And you also make a great point saying that, if you need something, you have to ask for it, right? So we keep observing that almost every day kind of thing in office, everywhere, right? So that is one thing. And Jaya or Dipti, do we have any questions from the participants? Then we can ask. But meanwhile, I'm going to ask a couple of more questions by the time you come back. Arunnima, other question would be like, are there any books or any quotations maybe? Because, I look a lot up to quotations, and I'm someone who keeps on finding some new quotations and try to inspire myself or motivate myself to do something or keep going. So are there any books that you would like to suggest to our participants that has probably immensely helped you, right, in your journey?
Okay. On the quote which I said earlier, it's a Richard Branson's quote: if someone gives you an amazing opportunity and you do not know how to do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. So that has struck with me for last few years, and after seeing that quote, I think nothing else is striking so much. Okay. And on the book, there are several books that have helped me in my journey. There are times when I was struggling and I was pretty low about things happening in my life and things like that. So one book which helped me overcome those struggles, is a book called Happiness Trap. I'm not able to remember. I think it was Russ Harris. I can ping you, Parvati, later. The Happiness Trap, if you type, you will definitely get that book. It is written by a psychologist. That helped me. They talk about a therapy called as an act, which is like, I forgot what exactly is. It's about acceptance commitment therapy, I think. So what it says is, whatever comes to you, you accept as it is. You develop your mindset to accept what comes to you, and then life becomes a lot easier, which helped me a lot. Easier. Yeah. And second book, which I'm reading right now, which it's not helping me, but I found it too excited to read that book, is Life in Full by Indra Nui, the former chairman of PepsiCo. It's a beautiful book. Beautiful book. Everyone should read it. It helps us. When we read it, we are traveling with her. It is a very simple book, very simple English. We can all relate to her lives, and I think it takes away a lot of stress which we have in our mind, because knowing that people who have reached that level also have gone through the same struggles as we have gone through. Yeah, it's a lot. A lot, I should say.
Okay, okay, absolutely nice. So yeah, Jaya, how are we doing on time, and do we have any questions?
Yeah, we have one question from Swami sir. I'll request Swami sir to come online with us and ask question directly to Arunima.
Yeah, sure. So
Swami sir, you are on mute.
Yeah, I think yes. I just come. Give me a minute. Yes. Thank you. And Arnima, you used to say, not listening to the self-doubting inner voice of mine, I took baby step to turn a deaf ear to that pessimistic voice. How you took that baby step incrementally from self-doubting introvert Arnima to a confident Arunima who is willing to take challenging opportunities. Because the motivation will be very, very, I mean, recently, just I wanted to share with you that Madhavan and Purni during the Chennai chapter, they talk about the atomic habits. It is all about our daily habits, and our daily routines matters a lot. And I mean, you get motivated now once this session is over and we lose our motivation and our pessimistic voice sit on our top, and it will really, I mean, then that will guide us what not to do. So how you handle it?
Okay. I it was I would say it was a journey in itself. Okay, so at one point of my career I was very nervous, anxious about everything that happens on a day-to-day basis, and I used to get stressed a lot. Okay, and it was not helping me at all. So during that time, I read a lot of books, lot of self-help books, like including The Secret, tons of them, I should say, tons of them, and nothing much helped me because as Sami sir said, you read it, you feel energized, and then you leave it. That's how it has become. So now, after reading this happiness trap, I kind of started accepting my life as is. There are challenges which I have in my life. I needed to accept it. Okay, so that helped me turn a little bit positive about my own life. And then I started looking at my own career. Okay, till then I had to have people tell me you are successful. I really had to. Though I had too many things to my credit, I never believed in myself. But slowly I started thinking, yeah, I have done this. Yeah, it is good. I became a product manager. I became a product strategist without an MBA. Yes, it was good. So slowly, it was the self-assurance which I started creating. Slowly. And what I've also learned from books is that you have to write down and keep what your successes are. So when you are low, you can actually go back and look at it. So I have not written down anything, but I had when I quit Infosys, my team members have given me a book which was autographed by several of them, where they have written how I have helped them when they were low. And to me, till now, that is my book of motivation. When I'm low, I just read that book. It might take 30 minutes, but I read that and I gain my motivation from that. So slowly, I started believing that, yes, I am helping others. Somehow, someone or the other is looking up to me as a motivation. I'm able to spend time with others when they need me. And that's what all matters. And now, do I really look for my manager to accept me for the work which I do? I really don't, because I know I'm getting my salary. When a promotion is due, I may get, I may not get, and I'm not worried about that. I have my salary. As long as I have my job and I have my salary, I'm happy with it. So I think these two combine, changing your aspirations and accepting what comes to you. That has changed a lot in me. So now when there is a doubt, I may talk to one or two of my friends. I just leave it and then I come back to my work and I move on. So I've been able to develop that way of, uh, getting rid of that stress myself. I think that should help. And that will not come just by reading a book or just listening to someone. You have to constantly practice it. And only you can practice it and make yourself better. Only you.
Great. Thank you.
I think
Okay,
we
so
overshot the time.
yeah, such an interesting topic. Everyone might be having questions, but they are not asking right now. So yeah, when they'll ask, we'll surely post you, and we'll have answers for them. Okay. So anyone else have questions, or we can move forward? Okay. So let's move forward. Thank
Sorry, I
you,
had one
Arunnima.
more, but
Yes,
Go ahead,
Parvati, please
Parvati.
go on.
yeah,
Go ahead,
maybe
Parvati.
just one last one. Can you suggest some of the assessments that will help us understand or gauge our strengths?
Okay, thanks, Parvati, for asking that question. Okay, see, my mentor once suggested that I should do strength finders. Okay, there is in earlier days we used to always say that we need to find our strengths and weakness, and we need to do something to solve our weakness.
Yes.
But now we have changed from that, and we say that we need to identify our strengths and play our strengths carefully so that we can grow. So it is important to identify your strengths. And my mentor told me there is a book called Strength Finders. In fact, it is by a group called Gallup. They conduct employee surveys and all. So Strength Finders, if you look for in Amazon, you can get this book. You search for Strength Finders with access code for doing this assessment. Okay. So I don't remember how much time it takes. It's a psychometric assessment, but for me it came 100% right. It will give you what your strengths are and what your lower values are. So they kind of have a 32 different parameters on which they will assess you. So you can understand your strengths, and you can clearly see where your strengths can be played well. Yes, Kamini, it is Clifton Strength Finders. Yes,
Clifton Strength Finder. Yes.
Yeah, thank
so
you
then
so
we
much.
have lot of things to talk about, right? I'll ping you later. So I have taken the Strength Finder, and we'll try to discuss that.